Hello, everyone, and welcome back to FGTN, Fishing Gear and Tech News. I'm your host, Alex Timm, and let me tell you, we've got a treat for you today. We're diving deep into the icy waters of innovation with a special guest from Eskimo Ice Fishing Gear. From shelters to augers to the coziest apparel, we're unpacking all the new releases for 2023, 2024 that Eskimo has announced. In fact, we can talk about all their whole assortment because we've got somebody here from Eskimo. I can't wait. To get this started, we're going to have you guys ask questions as we go throughout the stream today. The entire goal of the stream is to answer your questions about the gear. So without further ado, what I want you to do is drop into the chat where you're tuning in from, who's here. I love to see where people are tuning in from. And then after you do that, either in the same chat or after it, keep them coming. We're looking for questions. The very end of the stream, we are going to be giving away an E40 brand new auger. So you have to stick around. You have to be active in the chat. I'll tell you exactly how to win at the end of the stream. Everybody that's here will be able to have a chance to win, and it will be equal odds for everybody that's here at that point. So make sure that you're ready. Start thinking of those questions. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring in our guest, Matt Halverson from Eskimo. Hi, Matt. How's it going?
Hey, Alex, doing well. I had to get festive in the 650 tonight for the stream. It just felt right.
I love it. Awesome. So for everybody that's here, Matt, I met actually last ice season. You guys probably saw, hopefully you saw the video on my channel. If you haven't yet, go check it out. It's about the new Eskimo gear that came out this year. I got a chance. He invited me out to test it out last year. So I got to test out the E40 auger, one of their new shacks, and some of the other stuff that they have that we're going to be talking about tonight. Matt works with Eskimo. He works in the company. And so he's our resident expert here tonight. So bring out all the tough, hard questions. We're looking forward to them. I'm going to try not to answer too many of them from my perspective, but it's going to be a fun conversation. So start filling up that chat box. I'm going to check it out here in a second. And while everybody's doing that, Matt, do you want to maybe introduce yourself? Tell us maybe what you do at Eskimo. And just tell us something interesting about what you love about ice fishing.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, thank you first of all, Alex, for having me on. I think it's great to be able to interact with everybody in the ice fishing community. I think it's one of the most unique communities out there. It's a bunch of tinkerers, and we're a bunch of tinkerers at Eskimo. We love ice fishing. What I do specifically with Eskimo, I do digital marketing, so I do a lot of the content. I'm working with engineers on what's coming out next and gathering content for that and working with people like yourself. We got out on the ice last winter. That was super fun. Got to put some of the new fun stuff like what's behind me in your hands, and just being able to promote some of the fun things that we're working with. I guess one of the things, I don't know if this is the question you asked or not, but that I love about ice fishing the most is that everyone kind of does it differently. Right? Like we have all of this gear at Eskimo, or there's obviously a ton of ice fishing gear that people go out with. And I don't think anybody quite does it the same. I think the gear kind of takes you in the direction that you want to go. Like I love to fish with set lines in certain areas and, jigging and hopping around in holes in other areas. So I just think ice fishing is so unique, and I'm one of those people, and I think a lot of like people who are in Eskimo gear are this way too. It's that like I like ice fishing more than I like being in a boat. Like and that sounds crazy to a lot of people, and there's just something about being on the ice, man. And like it was frosty outside my door this morning, and that was just getting me excited. So yeah, I'm excited for ice season. I'm excited to see I'm curious to see what people want to know about our new gear.
Yeah. I love it. I'm just, while you were talking, I was going through the chat's blowing up here. So thanks everybody for hopping on. You can ask as many questions as you want. So I know that there is a text limit. Somebody had asked this already. There is a text limit to each chat you can put in. Just separate out your questions. I'm going through trying to star them as we go while Matt's answering them. We're going to try to get to all of them if we can. So keep them coming. I think there's some fun ones in here. We're also going to have up on the stream here, I'm going to pull it up right now. If you guys haven't seen it yet, this is the Eskimo webpage. You can go geteskimo.com. And then at the top, there's a new for 2023-24. I also have the link down in the description, probably maybe pinned in the chat, maybe not at this point. I don't remember. But you can check out all of the new gear. There's 33 items featured on this page. They, of course, have other items available as well. We may start going through some of these, but I want to make sure we get to your question. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling up the questions that are starting to come in, Matt. Let's just go ahead and start going through those, and we can just kind of keep going as they come in. So the first question here is from Jammenberg. How's it going, Jammin? Nice to have you here again. I think you're always tuning in, and I see you're tuning in on Facebook, so nice to see you here. He says, I'll be coming and going throughout the stream. He says he prefers Eskimo products, but other companies' back access doors on their flipovers are really convenient. Is Eskimo looking at doing anything similar?
That is a great question. So full transparency, we have considered doing that. We know that it's out there, obviously. So what we have in our shelters, specifically the flip over shelters, is those huge side doors on the side, the true side doors that are bigger than pretty much anything you'll find out there. And if, Alex, if you could pull up the 2000 would be a good example of this. So what we found when we were in the design process of the Escape specifically is that, believe me, we did look at doing a rear zipper on there, but essentially we just found that the average fisherman, I don't know how much people would use it. If people do use it, it's definitely something we would consider moving forward. We just didn't think it was entirely necessary with the way the side doors are positioned. And really the people that we found that were using them were people who were filming in their shelters, which is definitely a growing population of people for sure. But something we just decided not to do based on the way that the shelter was positioned. We didn't think, when you're going in and out of the shelter and bypassing your gear in the side door, we didn't think it would be a huge need to get in from the back side, but definitely something we did consider and are still considering. I hope that answers your question. Also, shout out to the pumpkin patch.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Keeping it going here. I poop in Walmart. Thanks for tuning in, man. 35 minutes north of the cities is where he's tuning in from. His question, will the Escape 2000 have an option for seats or just the bench?
So that one's just going to be the bench for right now. Great question. If you're looking for seats, that's the 2600 and the 2800 in the Escape series. That's just kind of based on the sizing of the shelters and just to basically hit two different options with the shelters. So no, we don't have a current plan to add seats to the bench. You can not have the bench in your seat if you prefer to not use the bench in the Escape 2000. When you're assembling it, you don't necessarily have to put the bench seat in. You could either design something yourself, use other chairs or whatever you want to do. So that would be one option, but we're not currently looking at doing seats in the 2000 right now.
Good
Hope
to
that
know.
answers your question, sir, or ma'am. I don't know where to go with that username, but
it's an interesting name. It's an interesting name for sure. All right, BMF Outdoors with Luke. The gear is fantastic. One question: is there anything in the works for flipovers? All the new gear is for hubs. Flipovers only have the backrest storage. If not, Eskimo missed a major mark.
So that's a great question. Thank you for your comment. And before, I just want to preface all of these. We're definitely open to ideas. Like if you're looking for more accessories in a flip over, we love to hear that kind of stuff. It's kind of why I'm here. I'd love to hear that kind of stuff. So there is, for the flip overs, there's the gear nets, there's a seat back storage, and actually the eHub system can go in a flip over shelter as well. So I've got actually right here behind me. So the eHub table right here, specifically, this goes on a hub right here, but with this piece right here, it comes in a 15-degree tapered piece. And also I've got one right here, just a flat flush piece, just like this. So you can actually put this on a sled. You can use all the accessories on a sled. You could use them on a bucket. You could use them on a milk crate. They're called eHub accessories, but they don't necessarily have to go in the hubs. They can go, they could even go in a hard house. They could go in a wheelhouse. You could put this on the side of, an ice castle or whatever brand you might have. So there are things in the works. That is a line I probably don't want to. I can't go into stuff we're working on at the time. Unfortunately, I wish I could just tell everybody all the fun stuff that's going on, but I cannot deny that there are other accessories in the works. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, in fact, one of the things we were talking about right before we hopped on here, just testing our audio and video, was that you could actually take those the hub clip thing, and you could actually screw it right onto your tub here on the bottom. And then you could actually have like the table or one of the accessories inside, or even on the outside of it. And you could put a rod holder, a rattle reel closer down. Like I'm even thinking, of course, I hope I have no clue, right? So I can talk all I want. Hopefully Eskimo does come out with something for the flip overs. I'd love to have, whether it's like a grip tape or something to go around the bars. Like I'm even thinking, is there a way to use like Velcro around one of the bars above one of the other Velcro spots to hold it up there? But one of the things I did bring up, so this was a thought. I know space is sometimes a little bit limited in the flip overs versus a hub, but you could just, with like a 5 or a 6 gallon bucket, you could get these e-hub bases and screw them in like in 4 spots, like in a circle around the bucket, or maybe 2 or 3 right next to each other on one side. So you could go throw this in the corner of your flip over, kind of up in the front corner. And then you could have a couple rod holders. You could have your table there right next to you. So I think there's a few different things that you can do. If you think about, some of the other brands, I know I brought up Otter a couple streams ago. They came out with a new accessory this year that literally is in the same spot this e-hub table would be if you attached it to your tub. So it's actually pretty similar from that aspect. If you were to look at it in terms of like what the competition has out there, you just can put it wherever you want with this one, which is kind of nice. So good question though.
Yeah, great question.
With Luke. All right, Quentin. Nice to see you here. Thanks for tuning in. Does the new Eskimo battery really fit on the Alpha? And does it work?
Two completely different power heads, 2 different batteries. I knew this was going to come up. So the E40 battery and the E40 power head, actually, they're completely different. I know that we're under the same umbrella, but even if you just listen to the RPMs, like if you listen to these 2 side by side, they're different augers. So
simple answer. Love it. Do you know, maybe you can say, maybe you can't. So one thing that I know is there's another auger brand that their battery is the same as other power tools. The only difference is there's a 1 tab different that you can actually take a screwdriver and knock it out, and then you can interchange them. Do you know of any hacks or any tricks like that with the Eskimo auger?
I haven't tried that personally. I'm going to leave that up to anyone who wants to try that. I don't want to officially be on record saying that.
All right.
But I can tell you that I ran around with a 10-inch auger last year on a fishing trip, and the battery did just fine. So any auger battery questions, yeah, definitely keep them coming.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Jess Ritchie, thanks for tuning in on Facebook. What is the best way to store and maintain an E40 battery in the off season?
That is a great question. So this goes for either ions or for Eskimo augers, because it's the batteries, like cells themselves are, they're the same technology. So the batteries are different in construction, but like the actual what's going on in there is, so the maintenance wise, it would be the same. So it's interesting because I asked engineers this very question and I got a surprising response. So actually full charge is not optimal for storage. If you could, there's going to be there's 4 lights on that battery right there. 3 of 4 would be optimal. Full charge is going to be fine. You're not going to hurt your battery if you store it at full charge. But like, if you're looking for like optimal, the best battery, like over time life, 3 of 4, just in anywhere in between about what they say about 30 and 80% is right. Anywhere in that range is optimal, and you're going to want to store it in a cool, dry space. So, like if you've got an outdoor shed, I would keep it out of there. Heated garage would be perfect. Bring it inside, throw it, somewhere that's going to be in a temperature regulated place all summer where it's not getting too hot, or in the fall where it's not getting too cold at night. Anywhere where you don't have big temperature swings, you're going to want to keep it out of there. But yeah, just a moderate dry place, and definitely not a dead. If it's at 0, that will actively hurt the battery over time. But anywhere in between that 30 and 80% range is right where you want to be for long-term storage.
That's great. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Good question. Alex Edwards, thanks for tuning in. Question: what's Eskimo's vision for the future?
Vision for the future. Well, I apologize to anyone who already put questions like this in the chat. I can't discuss future products on this live stream, but what I will say about future vision, one thing that we're always looking to do is just make life easier for ice fishermen. So, I mean, we've got a pro staff that we're constantly working with, and having actually a lot of them are very hard on our gear. A lot of them try to break our stuff, which we appreciate. So I would say that we're going to continue to innovate. We have a strong team of engineers and apparel designers that are always tinkering. So there's more to come.
Good question. Ty, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the awesome opportunity tonight. Why would you pick the 650 XD over a Clam X600 Team Fish?
Well, I'm biased, but I can't speak on the X600. But what I do think makes the 650, any of the outbreaks and the 2 biggest escape shelters, the most unique is the storm shield insulation that we use on the shelter. So I've never fished out of that other shelter, but what I can tell you is I've ice camped in the 650, and from what I can tell, we have the best insulation in the industry, and it's a 3-layer bonded fabric, heavy coated DWR on the outside. And personally, I don't think that gets talked about enough, is the actual insulation is different in all these different shelters, and it's really tough to like quantify insulation. Like denier isn't really an awesome metric or way of determining, what insulation is. I mean, it's called out on websites, but it's really not an awesome measurement of how great insulation is. So I would say what you're going to get out of the 650 is an awesome size shack. It's going to be super durable, and that storm shield insulated fabric is really a separating feature, I think, that takes our outbreak shelters to the next level. So I hope that answers your question. I mean, obviously there's sizing things you'd want to look at too, and that's self-explanatory. You can find just right there all that on the website too. So one thing with the 650, one more point on this, it is our tallest shelter and it is our longest bag. So that's something to consider depending on how you're transporting it. I like it because it's tall, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say I would maybe add a couple of things to that. So one of the big differences, and I can see preferences either way, but the Eskimo 650 has the no trip door, which means there's literally nothing to trip on.
Right.
The new Clam X600 Ice Fish Team 1 has I forget what they call it, the mega wide. They're going to kill me for not knowing the name of it, but I think it's like the mega wide door or something like that. Somebody in the chat drop in what it's called on the Clam. But they have the big door too now, the full door. But their thing is they have a little bit of fabric, so you still have the skirt that goes all the way around. So some people like that because it keeps the bottom from flaring out on you, and you can bank in even underneath the door. But the benefit of the Eskimo, on the other hand, is there's physically nothing to trip on. So you can't trip on that skirt or that little bit of an inch that's sticking up. So that's one difference. And then I was just going to add on to what Matt was saying in terms of the denier is the quality of the fabric used. It's not actually to do with the quality of the insulation. The higher the denier level, the thicker the fabric is going to feel and the more durable it's going to be. So you typically will see like a 900 or a 1200 denier on the bags that the hubs come in because they're super heavy duty. But if you think about it, the bags aren't insulated, right? So that's just an example of where they talk about it from a durability standpoint. You got to really look at the insulation factor. And I haven't compared them with the new ones, but yeah, great question.
It's tough to compare like insulation value. You have to do like a perfect test to do that. Yeah.
Sounds like maybe a video for this year I'll have to do.
Get the thermal cameras out, everybody.
Yep, thermal cameras, same exact heat on the same lake next to each other at the same time. We'll have to check. Yeah. Maybe we'll do it this year. We'll see. That could be a lot of work. All right, yeah. James, love my Eskimo Escape 2600, but it's a bit of a bigger setup. Could Eskimo or someone make a video showing the easiest way to set this house up?
Oh, that's a great idea. That would be my department. I will look into that. In terms of, I'm assuming you're talking about not like putting the actual shelter together, but out on the ice itself. Yeah, I mean, that's not a light shelter. I'll say that. If you're looking for something that's going to be super light, the 2600 is not the one to go with. It's designed to be pulled. It's designed that's got storm shield insulation too. That adds weight. So the 2600 and the 2800 are going to have the storm shield insulation. So I don't know if that has to do with like how the poles are going down and maybe just being mindful of where the fabric itself is going. I've actually never had that problem myself. I don't doubt that that's something that you've dealt with though, if you're throwing that in the chat. So I would say just be mindful of where the fabric's going. One tip for fabric management on the flip shelters. So if you look on the back of the shelter, there's the skirt that goes all the way around the back. There's little grommets in the actual skirt itself. So if you throw on the front of the shelter, I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but on the ground. So on this photo right here,
I'll go back to it. Hold on, this one.
So on the floor, like in the fishing area, like where right on the auger side of the shelter, if you put shelter coat hooks on the bottom of the shack, when you flip it up, you can use those shelter coat hooks to flip those grommets up and hold the skirt out of the snow while you're transporting it. So that's a little tip to anyone who's got an escape shelter and wants to keep the skirt out of the snow without like managing and folding that under every time.
Are you talking about here?
Yeah, right there. So if you put shelter coat hooks basically on the bottom of the shelter down there, when you fold it back up, you can use them to basically pick up the skirt on the other side. It works great. Shout out to one of our pro staffers, Kyle Agri, actually came up with that one, and we're going to run with that because that's it. We used it all season last year. It worked great. So I hope that answers your question, James.
Yeah, that's a good question. One other tip that I'll give you is that if you look inside, so all of these are extending poles. The easiest way that I found to open these shelters and set them up when you're solo is when it's collapsed down. There's not like the perfect photo for this, but say this is all collapsed down and you just took the cover off. Don't open the shelter up yet. What you want to do is start extending the poles laying down. So pull them out until you hear them latch. Pull them out so they're laying flat still. You haven't flipped anything up yet. Pull them out. And once they latch, then all you do is you flip it up like a one flip. That way you're not standing in there trying to open it with the roof on you, trying to extend it. I think I've got a video last year. I'll try to find it. It wasn't in an Eskimo, but it works for all of the flip overs that have those extending poles. But yeah, so something to look at. Maybe Matt and his team will put a video out on it.
Yeah, for sure. If you're looking for that, we can look into that.
All right, Ty asked Matt, why would you choose an Eskimo 650 over, say, a Clam X600? I think we just answered that question. Is that two people, or did I click on it twice?
I don't know.
I think it's two people.
I don't know. The 650 is one of our most popular ones. So yeah.
I might have to do a video. It's 2 people tonight that have asked that question. All right, Adam is up. Can we get the poles for the ceiling of the Escape series produced in a curve instead of straight, so taller guys like myself don't have our heads touch the ceiling? I have 6 Eskimo shanties. Woo!
Wow, shout out to you, Adam. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm curious which 6 you have, because you could do any number of things with, like, the wide ones, the escapes, the outbreaks. I mean, quick fish even. But that's a great point. I can bring that one to the engineers, and we'll credit you on that one, Adam. I will say that is an advantage to. So if you look at the 2600 here, the way the roof is structured specifically, we actually have that. So where you would be standing up, it is the tallest point or close to the tallest point of the shelter, not at the very front. That's intentional. But the curve is not something we have looked at, to my knowledge, unless, yeah, that's a great point. It's definitely something we can consider. Thank you.
Okay, cool. We've got somebody that gave me the correct terminology for the clam door. It is the max entry for clam. Thank you, Mike Brown. I appreciate you. Always looking to be as accurate as I can. So thank you. All right, next up, we got a lot of questions in here, Matt. So let's keep them going here. Plum asks, Eskimo has a great military discount. Thank you very much. Wasn't a question, but I will say I did not know that
Yep.
Eskimo had a military discount. And in fact, I'm going to pop down to this one because it actually has a different question related to it. Is there a maximum amount of savings per purchase?
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, we do have that discount, and it's not actually only for military members. Of course, military members, please use that. Thank you for your service. First responders are also included in that as well, and most government employees, so some teachers actually are included in that discount as well. It goes through GovX, so you'd have to go through and look specifically that, but some teachers are also included in that. And no, there is not a maximum amount of savings, so you can go wild with that if you want. And we're happy to offer that discount.
Love it. Good question. Thanks for asking. Does the Eskimo 8-inch hole fit in LVS 64? So I think this question is asking, is it a true 8-inch hole?
It is a true 8-inch hole. I've never used the LVS 64. I know the LVS 32 fits in an 8-inch hole because that's what I ran last season. And I used it with an E40 specifically. They're true to the size 8 and 10-inch. Honestly, if I was using an LVS 64, probably go 10-inch just for the sake of it. But that's just
you have to, yeah. So the LVS 64, if I remember correctly, is 8.2 or 8.3 inches in length. So it's not going to fit. And even if you were able to, I mean, you could do like 2 holes overlapping if you wanted to. If you had an 8-inch auger and you didn't want to have to buy a 10, you could do that, but it won't fit down an 8-inch hole. But we answered that because, like, K drill, for instance, for the longest time, there were 8-inch K drills that are really 7.5 inches. The 6 inches really 5.5. And now they've corrected them to be a 7.5 inch, which is kind of funny. But yeah, thanks for the question. Good question. You must be fishing big water, Quentin.
Yeah, geez.
That's 64.
Lake Superior guy, baby.
Yeah. In fact, it's the 62, actually. They haven't come out with the 64 yet. Kyle, what size auger bits are available for the E40?
So you can get it in 4 different bits. The sizes are 8-inch and 10-inch, neither composite flighting or steel flighting. That's basically just weights. The steel flighting weighs a little more. It's going to be a little, it's going to cost a little less with the steel bits. But the E40 8-inch composite weighs about 13.5 pounds, which is the lightest lithium auger available. So the auger bits themselves, super durable. We've had, in the times that we've offered bits in the composite flighting, we've had 2 warranty claims on them. One, what happened to it? It was frozen into the ice and it was chiseled out with a chisel, which I don't know if you're gonna chisel the auger out of it. Not a lot we can do there. What was the other one? I want to say it was melted on a heater or something. But these things are in, like, shout out to Kyle Agri again. I guess this is the Kyle Agri show, but he ran it over with a truck and it was fine. So love the bits are great. The engineers use like a high impact composite material that really has been great for us. So yeah,
great. Awesome. And we did have somebody in the chat call out. Yes, I omitted this. I should have said it. Kyle Smith. K-Drill has come out with new augers, so they do now have a true 8.5 as well. Yeah, thanks for the standing corrected on that. We just answered that one. So we're going to go to Sean and Cora Self. Differences between Eskimo XD series and clam hub shelters.
We've kind of covered that one a little bit, I would say. Again, I can't speak on the clams. I don't want to speak for them. But what I can say about ours, I feel very strongly about our insulation value and just the durability. We've been doing hubs for a long time. Obviously, we were the ones that Eskimo, our engineers, I shouldn't say we are engineers because they're awesome. Pioneered the no trip door, pioneered hubs themselves in the ice fishing industry. And we've just been doing it for a long time. And I think over time, they've changed and they've gotten really dialed in. So again, I don't want to speak on any of the competition. I can leave the research to you guys on them, but I would say the direction that we go with our hubs and all of our shelters, frankly, is just trying to be the best that they can be in a realistic package. It's not like taking an ice castle out there, right? Like you're not going to have like hard walls, but for what it is, it's going to perform the best that it can. And that's the direction that we go in. I know that's the marketing spiel, but I love camping in our shelters. I think they do great in cold weather. And I don't know, Alex, if you have anything to add to that in terms of comparison, but I feel like we've talked about that quite a bit. So.
Yeah, I think we covered it. I think what I'm hearing from the audience is I need to do a pretty good job doing a couple comparisons this year, kind of outlining the differences between them. So thanks for the question. I have noted it, and I will be sure to look further into that and get you guys an answer here. All right, BMF Outdoors with Luke. Here's another question: mountable rod holders like Otter. So are you familiar with the ones that he's talking about? The Otter ones?
Yeah, the little they're on the little
wire thing.
Yeah.
That goes in a hole. Yeah.
I mean, we have the E-Hub rod holder now. I would say that if I was to guess, that's probably not coming down the line for us. Center console can neither confirm nor deny. And possibly be able to swap out 2600 or 2800 with a bench seat. Also something we've considered, not right now. I would say the one thing I do like about the seats in the 2600 and 2800 too is they can fold up. So if you wanted to we've had people camp in these things, so you can fold one seat up in those and say put a cot down on one side. That's one option, or even a table. You can throw a table in there if you wanted to, dog bed. So we like the versatility of that. I see you must be talking about in like the 2800, maybe camping on the bench horizontally in that one. Because I have seen a little bit of that. That would just probably be something that you would want to modify yourself. That's probably not something that we would dive into, but maybe. I don't want to rule anything out. So
yeah, almost so it folds flat where the backrest goes down flat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Cool. All right. Thanks for the question. We're gonna try to fly through these. We've got 25 minutes left, and we still got to give away an E40 auger here. So we're gonna try to get pound through these. I think I have.
I'll be faster.
I think I have 20 queued up, and we're gonna try to do this in. So let's just do a speed round here, and we're gonna try to get through them. If you're asking another question in the chat, we may not get to it. Hey, thanks for the super chat, Barry. We'll show this one because we always prioritize super chats here. So Eskimo gear rocks. It's all I use. Thanks, Barry. I know Matt loves to hear that as well.
Shout out to Barry. Love it.
Appreciate it. All right, we're going to get going. I actually have 31 starred. Okay.
Oh, boy.
What kind of fabric quality are used for the flip overs?
So we have two different kinds of insulated fabric. One thing to know moving forward, all of our shelters are going to be insulated. So the two different kinds are Storm Shield and IQ, which stands for insulated quilted. Insulated quilted is kind of the basic insulation. So you're going to get that in the 2000 and the 2400. Still has basically everything you need in an insulated shelter, but the Storm Shield kind of takes it up a notch. You're going to get that in the 2600 and the 2800 in the Escape series. And the wide ones, if we include those in the flips, are IQ fabric.
Love it. Good question, Kyle. Josh, what's up, man? Does the E40 use a planetary gear system like the Ion?
Oh, shoot. I should know that. And I do know that the RPMs are higher in the E40 in the motor itself. Like, it just sounds different. It's different components. I am not sure if it's planetary, and I don't want to say the wrong thing. So I'm sorry, Josh. I don't 100% have an answer to that. But if you shoot an email to our go on at geteskimo.com, shoot an email to our customer service or shoot us a Facebook message, and we can answer that question for you. I just don't want to give you the wrong info.
Good question, Josh. AJ, looking at the new E40, if I get the 10-inch, will my pistol bit 8-inch work on it? And is there a quick adapter?
Great question. There is a quick adapter, and yes, it would potentially work on it, but we've gotten this question a lot. So the pistol bit has a completely different blade system than the E40. E40 uses turbo blades, these are very, very finicky machines. And it's basically a super complex product that does a super simple task of cutting a hole. And you are not going to get the same performance out of that E40 power head with a pistol bit just because of the blade configuration. So will it work? Yes. Is there a quick adapter? Yes, there's a quick connect. It'll work with that. You can rig that whole system up. There's it'll actually just go right on there. You won't even need an adapter with a pistol bit, but you're not going to, I wouldn't expect the same performance out of that. It's going to significantly take your amount of inches per battery is going to take a decent hit by doing that. So.
Thanks for the question. James Sullivan, how's it going, man? Joining us from Facebook. Have all the poles stayed the same size this year, or do I have to redesign some of my rod holder mounts for the Sullivan tip downs?
Same size poles.
So I love these quick ones. Great questions too. I've got questions like made up for like, well, if there's not enough questions, people may not have a lot of questions. And boy, was I wrong. These are good ones. I didn't even think about these. A GoPro mount on the hub would be cool.
We do have a camera mount, quarter 20 screw. And actually, fun fact, so like the eHub rattle reel or the eHub phone holder or any of those, you can actually screw off the end on that. So you can turn your rattle reel into a camera mount too. You just take the rattle reel off.
So you just gotta, just get the adapter to the quarter 20 for your GoPro, or the new GoPro Hero 12 that came out this year actually has the quarter 20 on the bottom. It's the first one that has that. Great question, man. Ryan, why aren't there any new Eskimo patch hats this year like the fancy one I'm wearing?
We're always coming out with new hats. There are obviously going to be new hats down the line. We just didn't have any this year, partially. There's a whole host of reasons for that, but there are more coming, I promise, and the new ones actually. I can't show them to you. I'm sorry, Ryan, but they're awesome. So
next year.
Yes, next year.
We'll have to do a live stream next year just to show off the hats. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Chris Lewis, for the flip over, I would love a multiple rod holder that might clip on a wall out of the way, but easy access to change presentations.
Ooh, great suggestion. I love that. Any sort of rod holder. Rod holder is an interesting one because, you got to take a lot into consideration, but yeah.
Love it. Sean, what size tackle boxes is the shelter seat organizer made for? The 3600, and will it fit tip ups as well?
I actually have that one sitting right here. I would say a tip up is going to be a little much for this guy. I would say you can. I don't want to say something that's wrong here. I would say a pretty decent sized tackle box. The nice part about this one is Is he talking about the actual compartments or the full back pocket? Because
I
there's
don't
two different
know.
pockets.
The seat organizer made for 3,600. I would imagine these smaller pockets because the back one, it's going to be a tight squeeze because it's not super deep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pull
you could
this out. I actually have a
probably jam
tackle box
something.
right here. Let's try this live in the stream.
All right, we're doing this. Here we go. See what he's got.
So, tackle box.
What size is that? 36?
I believe so, yes.
Yep.
So that's about the size of that. So you can, it looks like you could get this in the back, be super tight in one of the front pockets.
Okay.
Well,
Perfect. That is awesome. Thank you for answering that. Charles, how many amp hours the battery on the E40 batteries?
It is a 4 amp hour battery, but this is a common misconception. I just want to go with this. The efficiency of the auger itself is really what drives the amount of inches that you get out of an auger battery. Like you see that with the ion alphas a lot. So I like to think of it like a car. Like every car has like you can have the same size gas tanks, but two cars are going to go a different. They're going to have a different range. Like a Prius is going to go further than a huge truck. So, I think of it like that. Yes, the amp hour is important, but yeah, 4 amp hour battery. But I would keep in mind the efficiency. If you're looking for like the peak efficiency in an auger right now, it's going to be the ion alpha.
Love it. Jory, what about lights specifically for Eskimo shelters? I have a hub and a flip over. I know other brands make lights, but I'm wondering if Eskimo plans to launch their own.
I plead the fifth.
All right. You asked.
If that tells you anything.
That's a great question. Hopefully next year. I know nothing, but hopefully that would be cool.
Yeah.
Kyle, how durable is the flip over fabric? Had shacks in the past from other brands where the fabric quality went downhill after one or even during an ice season.
I would look at the Storm Shield fabric. If you're looking for like the highest quality fabric and insulation in the industry. So the 2600 flip over, the 2800 flip over, any of the Outbreak series, they have Storm Shield fabric. And I would say quite durable. Yeah, I don't know how to quantify it. So that's our fabric right there. It's really difficult for us to message because there's no finite like, hey, this is how we can quantify our insulation, but I would give Storm Shield a try.
Cool. Good answer. Love it. Jess, an integrated lighting system and hubs and flip overs would be awesome. Here's another one for that lighting system. Got to get it on the docket.
It would.
That would be cool.
It would.
BMF. I like the integrated lights in the poles is a great question. Yeah, more lights. What are we doing here? More lights. What's the difference between the fabric on the Escape 2400 and 2600?
The 2400's got the IQ there on the screen, so insulated, quilted, basic insulated. So definitely going to stay warm. The Storm Shield's just it's the next level insulation, and it's going to be great for camping. I would say if you're going to go ice camping, take a Storm Shield shelter.
Sweet. Any higher amperage batteries coming?
Maybe something we've looked at, but part of it is like, honestly, one of the biggest impacts to a battery's performance too is getting cold. So I think one of the things that especially we've talked about with our pro staff is the ability to have, say you want 8 amp hours in batteries out with you that day. It's probably better to have 2 4 amp hour batteries than one 8 amp hour battery. If that 8 amp hour battery gets super cold, say you accidentally leave it outside and it's 10 below, like over the course of a couple hours, that thing's going to obviously have some diminished performance. So that's kind of our logic there, is to have multiple options. And we think 4 amp hours does the job very well. So
cool. Good answer. How about an ice shack you mount to a 4-wheeler with tracks and be very mobile? Bing, bang, boom.
I love it. There are a couple products out there like that. I think I've seen. Those are cool. Yeah.
Is Eskimo maybe thinking about them?
We do have a brand under Artisan, which is the parent company of Eskimo, called U-Trax, that does make ATV accessories. We don't have necessarily that product coming down the line. I can say that. But that's a cool one. I like it.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I would use it. All right, Zach, what makes the E40 different from the Ion Alpha? I was waiting for this question. I was surprised it didn't come up any sooner.
Yeah, they're very different augers. Again, it's a complex machine that does an extremely simple task of cutting a hole in the ice. So the biggest differences between the two, the power head is completely different. The battery is different. The blades are going to be very similar. The Ion Alpha is going to have the most aggressive pitch on the blades themselves. But the idea with the E40 is going to be everything you need, nothing it doesn't. I mean, when you really think about 1,300 inches of ice versus the 2,000 inches of ice you get on a battery for the Alpha, how many people actually drill 1,300 inches of ice in an outing? We determined, like, I mean, there are definitely people who do. But for most people, I think the E40 is absolutely adequate. We also, both these augers are 40 volts. We feel that that is like the baseline that you need for an efficient ice auger is 40 volts. Any less power than that, it's just not going to be really as capable in any ice situation as you want it to be. It's not going to be as efficient. It's just not going to basically be as to do a task cutting a hole in ice. We thought 40 volts was the best one. So really you're saving weight with the E40, although the Alpha is still a ridiculously light auger. You're splitting hairs there. And the bits themselves extremely similar, other than the E40 power head is tuned specifically for the pitch and rake in the blade system of the turbo blades on the Eskimo one, whereas the Ion is tuned for the aggressive performance that it has there. So if you want like the biggest, baddest, best of the best, still super light, the Alpha is that auger. Alex, you've hinted at this a bunch of times. I've seen on social media and other places, but the E40 is basically the next best thing on the market. It's going to be, you're going to see it at a different price point, obviously. So that's a big thing. One other thing I would watch out for, I speak for retailers, but I'll just say this: it's not going to be hard to find this E40 with a second battery for free this coming ice season. So watch out for retailers for that. I hope that answers your question, Zach.
Yeah. So just to summarize, I've got a video on my channel. Check it out if you want to. Weight, it's lighter. The E40 is lighter. Granted, you got to be looking at like 8-inch composite versus 8-inch composite. You got to be looking apples to apples here, but it's lighter. It cuts a few less inches per charge, actually a good amount less, but still 1,300 inches. Yeah. And then it's cheaper as well. So those are like the three biggest things. It is slightly slower. But I was talking to somebody online just last night, and it's like 3.4 to 3.2. Like at the end, nobody cares about that 0.2 inches in terms of speed, unless you're a tournament fisherman that like is going panfish in like a 2-hour tournament or something, and you're literally running around the lake popping a hole to hurry up and catch a bluegill that's suspended type of thing. 0.2 inches per second isn't really can be a massive difference. Okay, cool. We have to move on. We're getting close. In 1 minute, I'm going to tell you guys about how you can win. We're going to answer a few more questions while you guys enter into the drawing for the E40. So stick around. What products are you most excited for from this year's lineup, Matt?
You're looking at it. It's on the screen.
E40.
The E40.
I love it.
Thanks,
I'm going to answer one more. Why does an Eskimo have anything to join two tent or flip over shacks together? Would be sweet for ice camping.
That's a great question. I'm going to, first of all, I can't comment on products that may potentially be looked at in the future here. There are ways to do that. Currently, you can take like a moving blanket is something that you can use and clamp it to the no trip doors is something that I've seen people do. But great question.
Maybe we'll see it in the future. All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. All right. This is how it's going to work. I'm going to pull this off. We're going to answer some more of your questions. So don't worry. I've got 13 more queued up, and I know there's more in the chat I haven't gotten to. So we are going to do a giveaway of an E40 auger. The way that this is going to work is I am putting this here. So in the chat, You need to drop hashtag. No, don't do that. Don't do that one. I missed the E. Important. All right, let's do hashtag E40. You need to put it in the chat. Do not spam the chat, please. It will only pick up one entry per person. You could put it in there a million times. It's only going to register you once. I'll leave this on the screen so everybody can kind of see how many entries are going. I'm going to give it maybe 5 minutes here before we do the drawing, and we're all going to see it live. And it's only the people that are here right now part of the chat. That's the great thing about this. I show 107 people right now that are here. So anybody that hops on and puts this in the chat in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to click draw after a few more questions, and then we're going to give this thing away. So we need to thank Matt. We'll do it at the end of the stream, but we're going to have to thank Matt. This is coming from him. So let's go ahead and answer a couple more questions. Jory is asking, can you officially rule on the age-old argument in the hub series, walls first or ceiling first, both opening and closing?
If you ask our shelter engineer, it's ceiling first. If you ask me, it's walls first.
Oh no, he didn't help us.
Sorry.
Do it however you want, I guess.
Yeah, it all works.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Eskimo needs a full zipper bag. That is the only thing I hate about my Eskimo. I use an Otter Monster Lodge bag so much easier. For the hub bags. Yeah,
we've looked at that. It's to us, it's another point of failure personally, where like the zipper could break and then your bag's kind of useless. The other thing, go check out on the Eskimo YouTube channel. There is a proper technique to putting them back in the bag that helps a ton. That involves like folding the fabric over onto one side and kind of rolling it up and using the strap. If you do that, it's going to go back in the bag, no problem. It's got a bell top. I totally hear where you're coming from. After a long day of fishing, if it's icy and cold, it can be tough. But that could come down the line. But as of now, I think our bags work awesome. So
awesome. Carter, thanks for the super chat, $1.99. Really appreciate it. I got a 10-inch E40 with a free battery from Shields. There we go.
Shout out.
All right. So when we get done, if you don't win the E40, everybody head over to Shields' website, hashtag not sponsored, and go check out and see if they have any left. I imagine they'd be at the shows. I don't know. The Dakota Angler Institute in Sioux Falls, I know they've specifically said they're going to have a crazy deal going. I don't know if it means it's the free battery or if it's a discount. I don't know. But I know that at least that show is going to be having some type of deal better than whatever MSRP is on it. So thank you, Carter. Really appreciate it. All right, we're gonna give it one more question and then we're gonna hit draw. So if you haven't entered hashtag E40 in the chat, make sure you do it if you want a chance at winning the Eskimo E40 auger on the live stream.
Suspenseful.
All right. I think this is a good last question. Vikings or Packers?
Well, Eskimo is a Wisconsin-based company. I'm from Wisconsin. Packers all the way.
All right. There we go. Yeah. All right. We're going to do the drawing. Who's excited? Who's with me? All right. 94 people. I'm going to click it in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, boy.
Here it goes. Who's it going to be? An 8-inch composite E40 auger.
Oh my gosh, it goes through them like this.
Sean and Cora Self, congratulations. Awesome. All right, so this is what you need to do. You need to find me in the description of wherever you're at. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, my email's in there. Shoot me an email. Let me know that you won. And then, or you can hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. And then we'll get it all figured out from there, but I'll need your address, shipping address, phone number, name, all of that kind of good stuff. But we'll chat about it once you reach out to me. So make sure you reach out to me. Please do it within the next couple of days if you can, and we'll get that off to you so you have it for the ice season. So let's go ahead as we're closing up here and give a big thank you to Matt Halverson for giving away an E40 auger. It's pretty awesome. It's one of these $580 augers that we see here. Matt, thank you so much for being on the stream. Thank you for doing the giveaway. I really appreciate it. You've been awesome to get to know during the last year, and hopefully we do more of these, either this season or next season. I know I get a lot of energy around it. So before everybody heads out, where would you recommend people go to check out the Eskimo gear? And is there anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Yeah. So check out any of our retailers. Obviously, someone popped in with a retailer that's doing that promotion. So any of the fine folks out there that are carrying our products, if you're wondering when we specifically are going to have these in inventory, looking like the next 7 days, we have them. It's just a matter of making sure that everybody's got them, so we're not basically overstepping any bounds here. But they're here. Ice is going to be here very soon. GetEskimo.com. If you have specific questions about the size of the shelters, there's diagram sizing on our website. We have videos that go through all of that. And yeah, don't be afraid to shoot a message to our customer service. All of our customer service representatives are in Cumberland, Wisconsin. We don't outsource that. It's people who are sit right next to the engineers and are happy to answer any questions you have on any of the products. So it doesn't have to end now. You can definitely shoot on over to our customer service. You can call them. They'll answer any questions you have. But yeah, thank you, Alex, for having me on. It's been a blast. Happy to answer questions and hear some new ideas. It's been fun.